Career suicide, or is little New Zealand standing up to trading giant China going to spark a revolution? Smaller Asian nations are closely watching as Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern makes a major policy shift that could make things a little messy.
When it was time to condemn China's crackdown on the democracy movement in Hong Kong and its treatment of its minority Muslim population in Xinjiang, New Zealand has been reluctant to sign up to statements from its Five Eyes Alliance partners. The centre-left government even suggested its partners were not showing enough respect for China, New Zealand's biggest trading partner, and urged Australia to be more cautious in their wording when dealing with the Chinese government. This prompted an outcry from their allies. Now, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern is making what looks like a significant U-turn.
And it will not have escaped the attention of anyone here that as China's role in the world grows and changes, the differences between our systems and the interests and values that shape those systems are becoming harder to reconcile.
New Zealand's exports to China are worth more than to the next four largest trading partners, Australia, the US, UK and Japan combined. Ardern's tougher stance shows the rising challenge of balancing trade concerns and human rights commitments as China's influence expands.
Just one more over this way.
I'm joined by our China analyst, Clifford Kuhn. And Clifford, why the sudden policy shift? I guess it has something to do with Australia, because Australia's been standing up to China for some time now and paying the price through coal exports, through wine and lots of different sectors.
Yeah, and the links between Australia and New Zealand are traditionally very close, as we know. I think that's very much part of it. And then Australia is also part of the Five Eyes, which includes the US and and Australia, as I said, and but these other partners. So basically, it's trying to now look closer to its Western allies than to China, even though it's a trading colossus. And it just shows the whole challenge of how you have to balance trade and try and measure these out. It's a real challenge.
There's so much at stake. Ardern has been vocal about things like the Uyghurs in Xinjiang before. Yeah. And you hear about it time and again here, the pressure on the German Chancellor to speak out on human rights issues. But being vocal, is it going to change anything?
Well, this is it. I mean, I think again, it comes back to this balance and then how much you actually make an impact with this. And I think during the Trump era, we saw that a lot of the Western allies were actually quite divided when it came to dealing with China. And China was able to sort of drive divisions there. And now that Biden is there, things are changing again. And there's growing pressure now, say, here in Germany on Chancellor Merkel to be a bit tougher on Germany because she always takes the trade line. But things are changing. We see some of the other new candidates coming up are talking about being tougher on China. So I think that if there's more of a common front on dealing with China, I think things definitely could change.
So a rebooting of alliances, could it change the way other small players in Asia also do business, not just the big players like Germany?
I think it will, because I think they're definitely watching this quite closely. These countries, while you do have loose trading arrangements and loose alliances there, they tend to have more of a bilateral approach when it comes to dealing with China. And sometimes they can feel quite isolated.
Especially in regions like the South China Sea, where China says it's ours.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is a big problem. And if you're a country like the Philippines or Vietnam trying to deal with these on your own, it's difficult. But if you suddenly see that other nations, that there is more of a common basis to try and finding a different approach to how to deal with China on these issues, then I think it's certainly going to be supportive to this kind of situation.
So a realignment, not just in politics, but also in global business. Clifford Kuhn, thank you very much for coming in.